So at Rebreak, we're here with Dale Harper of HeadHappy. So hello, nice to have you here.
Hello.
We'll just be talking about your business, your experiences, just overall having a chat for an hour. Yeah.
Awesome.
So if you don't mind, if you just give us a brief description of your business.
Yeah, so we sell CBD and hemp products. We work in the cannabis market. I guess people get confused with that one. It's not cannabis that gets you high. It's cannabis L sativa, so it's the same plant. I like to say cannabis store, but essentially it's a CBD and hemp store. We're now branching out into vaporizing as well, so we do a lot of that. I guess that's what we do. Big focus on customer service, getting the products right. That's what we do.
Yeah, so how long has the business been running for?
Oh my. So essentially since the 7th of March 2017, that's when I opened my doors officially. New premises would have been in August last year. I want to say August 17th, but I think I'm a little bit off on that figure. But yeah, around about August last year. So that's when we moved into the new one anyway. That was an upgrade from the last one, which was tiny compared to this one. This one is massive. It's a huge undertaking, and I never thought that it would be as big as it is right now. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So how did you start? What was the initial business?
So I tried to go online in 2016, and I quickly got banned. So anything that I'm selling is not allowed really online. I mean, anything either smoking related or anything related to cannabis, even vaporizing itself, it's very hard to sell that sort of stuff online, even to advertise for. Advertising has been an absolute nightmare for me. It's the worst. I didn't know what the biggest obstacle starting would be, but advertising was pretty big. And I guess I started in 2016 as just an idea to have something on the side while I was working at the call center. I tried something else with a couple of friends on the hill town, and that's an experience I was living through. I wanted to try it online, so I was working in a call center at the time, and it started out of my recovery from mental health. Essentially, it was something for me to do on the side. Now that I was back in work again, I seemed to be doing well at work again. I was unable to keep jobs my whole life. Like, I've never, from my first official job from when I was 14, that official job, I've never been able to keep it for a long time. And I think when I was 14 at the time working, I was selling donuts in this, I run a woman's donut store. So I was in the center, in the shopping mall, running this donut store by myself. I think that was probably my best position I ever had. I held that for about 3 months. It wasn't my favorite, but it was definitely, my longest survived one without any animosity from anybody, because it was just me. So I was able to survive that job a little while until I asked for a pay rise, and I think I was booted from Team Dale. But yeah, it's always been a dream of mine to have a shop. I did try again in 2000, and I think it would have been 2008 or so, even 2003. I wanted to sell T-shirts. I sold candles door to door when I was living in a children's home. When I was 16, 17, I would have been 16 actually. So yeah, I was selling candles with my brother door to door. We were given an opportunity there. We both took it. So business has always been something, I guess, in the back of my mind, but I've never had the schooling to implement. So when it came to 2016, just having my mind now more clear, 10 years, 8 or even 8 years prior to this now, my mental health state was in such disarray. it was at the worst point in my life. So to get up to the point of 2016 where I felt more comfortable, like I could have a job, and I was driving at this point. I had a car license now, and I had a motorcycle. These things are always things I'd always dreamed about working towards. I'd always dreamed about having a motorcycle. It's one of my biggest nightmares my whole life, was wanting to have a motorbike. Like I used to have this nightmare where I would be driving my motorbike everywhere. I'd have this new motorbike, like I'd be driving it everywhere, and then I'd end up driving up a hill, and all of a sudden I'd have pedals, and I'd just be pedaling up a hill, you know. So I was freeing myself. I'd learned to start recovering from mental health. I'd started implementing things in my life that allowed me to recover, to get me to a point where I felt comfortable enough to expand myself and start incorporating other activities into my life. And I made a big drive. I really tried hard with that online shop in the beginning. I was going through relationship problems at the time. I'd ordered a box of goodies that I was going to sell online. It was just a small box of a few things that I had, and I started it. I was quickly banned. I was banned a few times, and I just kept working on it, and then my goal was to publish the website on the 1st of January 2017. And I remember publishing, everybody was downstairs. We were living in a 5-bedroom house at the time. It was a great part of my adventure, but I was not there. I was at the point. Before that, I was not there, but I was getting to that point where I was there, you know. So it was something that I was like, you have to do this, Dale. This is something, you know, I was wanting to do. So on the 31st, while everyone was partying downstairs on New Year's, I was upstairs just finishing off the website and trying to get it published. And I did. I got it published, and within 3 days I was banned again. And then 3 months went by, and a lot happened in those 3 months. My relationship broke down. My partner ended up with somebody else after 16 years. She ended up with somebody else, and it tore me apart. I ended up getting into my own flat. I moved into a flat in Stobswell, and I was crying every night, you know. I was seeing my kids. Like I said to my partner, I don't want to be without my kids. So, you know, and that's the last thing. I always wanted to wake up with my kids. Like that was my goal. If I was with that girl for 6 years, then we decided to have kids. It was a decision. Like I wanted to look after those kids every day, and now I don't get that chance. But at the time, it was tearing me apart. So it was 2 days on, 2 days off, and the pattern was really hard. And you know, you have them on Wednesday this week, but next week is a different day, and it was like that until May 2018. But in March, up until March, my head was so messed up, so messed up. There was a lot that was going on. I was seeing my kids every 2 days, and when they went for those 2 days, it was agony, you know. And you have all these thoughts like, what is she doing? Who is she with? She's running around with this is, you know, all of this stuff is going through your head. And something in my brain it says, you know, on like I said, speaking to you guys earlier before we started, and on the 6th of March 2017, I just decided, I was like, what is the alternative, Dale? Are you just gonna sit and mope and cry and moan and think that everybody else has done something to you? Are you gonna just sit there and be like, yeah, it's their fault? Or are you just gonna take ownership of it, say, this is my shit, my responsibility. If I don't get up, no one's gonna help me, no one's gonna hold my hand, no one's gonna pull me up. The world is a cruel place. It is a hard place. And there are decisions that you have to make in life that are harder than all of the other decisions. It's so easy to just for me to have gone, do you know what? I could sign up on the welfare. I could go to the pub. I could go and spend time with my mates. I could take drugs. I could do all of these things. But the decision was that I don't want to cry anymore. I don't want to blame anybody else. I don't want to be that person anymore. So I found a property and I had £300 and I put it down and I still had part of that small box, and I moved in on the 7th of March and I started that journey, and I am where I am now because of the decisions I made to get up and to move and to go and to not care what anybody thinks, and just free myself from the burden of other people's expectations and just move myself. I don't know if that's the answer that you're looking for, but
No,
that's how I feel.
That was great. Did you feel ready when you started your business? You say you haven't had any prior schooling, so was it just a...
I made it to the last half of my year of primary school, and what was going on with myself and my family, with my stepfather, primarily at the time, meant that because we were not seeing eye to eye, and because of the destruction that was going on in my life, unbeknownst to my parents, to my teachers, to anybody around me, there was something else that was going on in my life that people, I guess, they didn't understand. That, coupled with the own mental health of my parents. I've said to my brother, I've said to many people, if I was a horse or if I was a pup, I would have had the best childhood ever. But I didn't have that. I didn't have those things. They were not granted to me. I had to find happiness in every little thing that I sought out. Everything I wanted, I had to go and find myself, you know. And so when it came to primary school, I was halfway through that primary school year, and because of my stepfather's mental health conditions, because of what was going on in my life, they pulled me out of school and they sent me to Scotland from South Africa. So I went from halfway through primary school and failing, like miserably. I'm not a dumb person, I guess, by any means, as I've been told by people, and it's something that you eventually, I guess, have to believe. But school wasn't for me because of the way school works. It wasn't a setting for somebody with the mental health conditions that I have. I was cutting my fingers. I still have scars. I was taking the sharpener, the metal blade of the sharpeners, you know, the plastic ones, and putting them in and just sitting cutting myself in class. I had no idea why. It wasn't a look. I wasn't wanting anybody to know about it. It wasn't something. I'm 37 now. This is not stuff that I've seen, you know, maybe in the last 10 years people talk about mental health. I was doing stuff like people talk about now. I was doing it then as a kid without knowing why. So I understand those sorts of feelings, and I was at that stage in life. So I was uprooted from halfway through primary school to Scotland. I was thrown into a new area. One of my first meetings with somebody was a guy. He'd called me from, I went to St. John's High School. I was eating lunch. I had the little welfare stamps. I was sent to my gran. She didn't have a lot of money, so I was on the stamps going in, giving, you know, that and getting my food. And then these guys came up to me and told me that somebody needs to see me in the lockers. Some guys, you have finished your food and you come and see him. So I got there, and there was this guy there. He says, "You don't like black people in South Africa, do you?" And all of a sudden I was targeted within weeks of being there. And it was those 10 months I spent at school was a massive learning. I went from being teased and bullied to finding some friends, finding some solace, then uprooted again. So I was sent from halfway through my last year of primary school failing to second year of high school in Scotland. Spent 10 months in second year. Got given the choice because people are like, well, I guess he's smart enough. He's proving it through other whatever. I was given the choice. Dale, you could choose your subjects. I was given biology, physics, and chemistry. I was allowed to choose those. It's not common, but I was allowed to choose those. I guess people seen aptitude where I didn't, so I didn't believe in myself, I guess. But then I was uprooted after 10 months. I was put into high school in South Africa in my first year. Then within 6 months, I was told by the principal that she'd found the documentation that I hadn't finished primary school, and then was threatening me that if I didn't finish this first year of high school and pass it, Then because you have to pass exams in South Africa to move forward from grade 1. You have to pass an exam. If you don't pass your exams, you don't get to go to, your second year of primary school. You have to pass those exams. So I'd always scraped by. And when I moved back and I was told you have to pass this year or be sent back to primary school, I passed that year. Then I passed the next year. Then I dropped out. So for me, education-wise, I didn't have much of primary school, high school really to think about. Then when I got out of that, I ended up in a children's home. That's a long story. I ended up in a children's home after having taken my parents to court for things, and ended up in a children's home. I begged to go to college. Because I was in a children's home, they allowed me a special grant to go to college. So I used that as leverage. When I got moved, I was living on the street before I moved to Scotland again. I was given a chance. I was 17. I was living under a bridge in Africa. I was still working. I climbed a bridge on the day I was booted out of the children's home for being 17 now. You're 17. You go make your life yourself now. I climbed to the top of a building. I sat on it 17 years old. Wanted to jump off. Just something in me said no. I just kept thinking over and over, if you land on your head, bro, it's all over. If you land on your head, it's all over. So you think about these things, and I just thought, I don't want to be there. So I climbed down. I went and I got a job, but I worked for tips. I worked tips and commission. You don't get a wage. I didn't have the mental health capacity to build tips and commission. One of the worst incidents for me was a girl asking me for serviettes because she'd seen me there at work, and she worked at another restaurant, and she'd seen me, and she was there to see me, and I didn't know that. I didn't think anybody liked me. I hated myself. She asked me for serviettes. I went to the kitchen. I brought back 500 serviettes and slammed it down on her table. Like, I had no idea how to deal with people. I just went through things. And when I asked my manager for a place to stay, and he's saying, I don't know how that's going to be with the relationship with the other staff, and if I'm giving you priority and letting you stay here. So I went, fuck you. So I slept under a bridge. I'd done that shit until I was given the chance, and my brother found me. My little brother found me, and he said, you know what, I've repaired the relationship with our parents again. And they have said, you are allowed. I guess we were young. I guess we all had stuff to learn. My parents, myself, all of us. We made a small amends, and I was given the opportunity to come to the UK 3 weeks after my 18th birthday. And I came to the UK with that. I went to college based on the college that I'd gone to at Benoni Technical College, while being at the children's home. I used having been there as leverage for me getting into college. I mean, even as far as computing, that was what I did at college. I did my HNC, my HND, and then I went to university for computing as well. I'd been playing with computers since 1989. By the time I was 15 years old, this man who ended up being a pedophile, we put in prison. I put him in prison by the time I was in children's home. That man had managed, I guess, through his pedophile ways, had said, well, here's Dale, he's very good on computing. This kid, he can help you out. So I helped out a multinational company called Max Steel Limited. You can look them up. They're a huge shipping company. Through my knowledge of computing and pedophile Colin, that escalated in me having a job at Max Steel. So I ended up working there for 2 weeks as a contract, and ended up fucking up their entire system. I destroyed it single-handedly over a week. I was supposed to be doing an upgrade. I had no qualifications to get to these things, but I guess at the time, my mouth helped me get to places that I didn't, and plus through the help of Peter Colin, I got to places that I didn't think I would get to. So I've had experiences like that I've been in positions where I didn't think I would be in, based on just believing that I can be in that position. So to get to the qualifications point, I had nothing. I'd blagged my way to wherever I was. It was sheer luck that I was at where I was at, and I wasn't in jail or dead. I'd tried a few times. By the time I got a motorbike, I came off. I've got a really bad injury in my leg now from a motorcycle crash. Just after I opened the store, while I was still going through mental health, still am every day. So no real qualifications coming into the business there. I guess it was just an idea that I didn't want more of the same. I wanted to do something legit, and I wanted to have respect for myself. I didn't think that I didn't think I'd be at the position that I'm at now, where the store is open, it's 20 minutes past 3, there's 2 staff in there handling it, and we are speaking to and helping people on a 7-day daily basis. And I'm here. That blows my mind. I'm like, what is going on? But it was a predetermined goal. I said that's what I wanted, and that's where I've ended up. It was something I created in my mind. I've pushed for it, and now that's where we're at. And even if I fail tomorrow, even if I fail today, I'll know, and always will know, that if I just get up and do, I can do. The anxiety of not doing, me before I came to this interview, an hour before I came to this interview, my hands are sweating. I used to call it overreactive sweat glands. 20 years later, I find out it's something called anxiety. I was sweating, I was worried, I was doing the things though that make me happy. So even though those anxieties would have kept me down today, I was listening to music because I know that makes me happy. I was dancing because I know that makes me happy. I ate some food because I know that's required. I did some exercise because I know that's required. Like all of those things I know, if you don't put them in play days, you're going to be in bed all day, under the covers, doing nothing, not going to work. What's work? Screw work. I remember that. Sorry, get some water.
So would you say like those are the type of stuff, like if somebody's going through stuff, that's what they should do?
Absolutely. I mean, you just gotta get up and go. Like the whole time before me coming here, I'm so anxious and so nervous. I'm like, what if I screw up? Like, what if I say, something wrong? Like I could have even said something wrong now, but the whole point is that I've put myself in a position where I'm just going. I'm just moving. I'm not allowing myself to think. So if like for parking, I get anxious when I park my car. Right? I get anxious, what if I don't park right? What do you know? And there's loads of tricks to help you out, I guess, with anxiety, and most of them come around slow down, take it step by step, and do the thing that you don't want to do. Because as you do it, you create knowledge inside of your brain on how to do something. It makes it less complicated. It makes it less hard. So when you go to do it again, you can do it. You've already got those steps. The human mind is an incredible place. If you just put yourself into a position, it will start to learn. And you will develop through that. You won't be as worried because you'll be in the moment. And the trick is to be in the moment. You can't allow yourself to think about what could happen, because the second that you do that, you put yourself off. Now, I used to ride a BMX, and I rode for the last thing. Okay, all right. I never thought I'd be a sponsored BMX rider. I picked it up at 21 years old. I never thought that Rockstar Energy drinks would be bringing me 16 cases of Rockstar Energy every 2 weeks, which I could just distribute to every mailman, every skateboarder, BMXer, rollerblader, or even scooter person on the planet. Like I never thought those, but me putting myself in the position was what made that happen. I remember looking at all the kids at school and thinking, I'd love to have a BMX. That's so cool. But if I didn't just at one time go, right, well, you don't need to have that cool thing there. Remember that thing you've always wanted to do? What if you actually did it? What if you actually did it, bro? Like, what if you took it out your mind, stopped dwelling on it, and did it? And it's amazing what can happen. Like, your whole life can change just from a decision to do it.
I have a question.
Yeah, sorry, bro.
We were talking earlier about relationship, your wife
Yeah.
going and everything. For like the young people focusing on, growing a relationship, what would you say?
It's hard. It's so difficult. My son, he's just about to turn 14. He's going through relationship stuff right now. Oh, it's been traumatic for him. And I do feel incredibly overwhelmed with emotion when I think about him in a relationship and everything. Like, wow, my little brat, like I always say to him, chin to my belly button. That's how big you were. His first bath, that's how big you were, bro. So he hates that. And he's got a girlfriend now, right? Like, okay, he's just out of his first serious girlfriend where he could give her a kiss. He gave her a kiss. He's like, oh my God, a kiss. He's so happy, But he put a lot of time and effort into just seeing the world with her, and that's what we all do anyway. We all become really involved in just that part. So when it comes to a relationship, it's how you deal with everything. Like, you can't be affected by, with mine right now. We've got one separate problem that really is hard to deal with, but we are going through it, and it's a step-by-step thing. But when you're younger, you don't really think about those things. We jumped into things when we were younger. My girlfriend and I, we were together 16 years. We got together when we were 18 and we were 16. I just moved to the country. I didn't think anybody would ever speak to me or like me. There she was, she did. We ended up together for 16 years. So, and we went through crazy ups and downs. I wish I could just say to everybody, okay, just don't take it all too seriously, take it day by day. And I don't know, because everybody's so different. Like, I know people who don't want to have kids, but then I know people who want nothing more than to have kids. And then I know people with kids who don't want those kids. Like, I went on a journey in 2017 to go and find my father in South Africa. I hadn't seen him since I was 16. I had to leave him. He was abusive. We were fostered to him for 3 months. He was drunk, alcoholic, abusive, just like my mother had said. And we made this decision, I guess, after 3 months to leave there. When I looked for him in 2017, I eventually found him after a couple of weeks. His first words to me were, "You and your brother are such a burden on my life," And things like that are really soul destroying. But then you think, people like that, he doesn't want to have the responsibility for his kids, and that's another caveat to relationships. Like, not all of us are. You just got to be happy in yourself. That's the most important thing, because relationships are such a complicated thing. I guess I don't even know where I could go conversing about relationships. If you're my brother as well. Like, I've got a little brother. He went through a relationship. He tried to jump off of a third story of the building when he was at school, because he had it so serious. Like, this is the girl I'm going to be with forever. And it does feel like that when you're in a relationship. But like we were talking earlier, are you married yet? There's a lot to think about in life. It's not just about getting that one thing down. Some people, yeah, that's for you, but not all of us want to have that one focus, I guess. So people can get drained in that. Like, your partner might want to just give you hugs all the time, and you might just want to be a free spirit. I don't know where to go with this, guys. You put me on the spot about relationships.
No, I think that was really inspiring. I think it's a really nice note to end on, I think.
Okay.
It's been half an hour now.
Has it been half an hour already? Oh my God. Okay, guys. All right. 29 minutes.
It was really great.
Anything else we got in the last minute?
I've got a question.
Yeah, bro.
You see when you said your wife left you and everything. I don't know if you answer if you want, or you don't have to.
Yeah,
what would you say is the reason? Why do you think is the reason why she decided to leave?
Like what I was saying, we went different ways. Like, I'd said to her at the time, when we moved into the new house, I said to her, look, I think you should go to college. She wanted to go to college. She wanted to be a motor mechanic. She's done lots with her life. She's really accomplished a lot in the years that we were together. So I always want the best for people, and sometimes, like, my relationship was hard to bring my head around to the fact that she's got what she needs. That was the hardest thing. So in the beginning, I'd said to her, look, you go to college and you study. Don't you go falling in love with your lecturer now. You know, it was an actual side joke.
Wow.
You know, but that's the way it ended up. And it was because in my life, I was realizing that for me to get the things that I needed to make myself happy, I needed to do A, B, and C, and D. And for her, that was not the direction that she was wanting to go. We have slightly different mindsets on business and on welfare and stuff. So it was always going to be slightly different. We never went into it like that. We went into it as a friendship. I mean, we were on the buses together. She was showing me Dundee on the number 9, and then on the number 10 going the other way around. We were walking through the parks and stuff like that, you know, and it just ended up that she was going through shit in her life, I was going through shit in mine, and we had similar life over a while, 6 years, and we thought the future is in our relationship, you know, that it's the world against us, or
So
us
it's just
against
like you
the
guys
world.
just grow apart, is that
And you end up like growing apart. And now we speak, now we talk. It's not
Friends?
the same. We're still friends, yeah. And you know, we talk a lot. And our the main reason we talk is because of the kids. We don't make a decision.
Is she not
About
regretting
the
like
kids.
seeing who you are right now? No?
She's always said that she feels like I'm potentially going to go and do something outside the norm. I've always kind of been outside it that way, and she's always she's always supported me through everything. She's always supported me and always has done. She still does. But she should be, and I hope is in no way jealous of. We still have our kids. That's like the most important thing. At the time, I thought, I've got nothing. I moved into a flat with nothing. She moved in with her college lecturer. He had a really nice car. My BMW, the first thing I bought, my first car I bought, I thought I was fucking buy a BMW. You know, buy a piece of shit, cheap ass BMW, £758. Same as on my first GoPro. I bought that with change. I bought it with change. A guy gave me a discount because I bought it with change. I had 1s and 2s and shit, and I bought that car. It was falling apart. I had to go to the college because she was working as a motor mechanic. I had the car sent to the college to be looked at and inspected by the motor mechanics for the students. And she came back, told me that apparently people were just laughing at me because of the state of how bad the car was. So I knew that I was living this I was living the Nike shoes lifestyle at the time. I wasn't yet humble enough to be like, right, I don't need that. You know, I don't need that shit. What do I need a BMW for? My car after that was an Audi A4 Quattro. Why did I need that? I couldn't afford that. I had to work a second job the entire time I was at the business. Then I ended up getting a Fiat. Then after that, I just thought, I'm just gonna get my motorbike again, save money. I was paying £300 a month parking fees in town. I was working 7 days a week there, so I was thinking, well, I'll just get my motorbike again. That'll save me money, and it has saved me money. But I mean, 10 weeks ago again, I'm just like, that sort of stuff is so not only soul destroying but distracting. Like, I don't need the fast car. I don't need nothing cool. I don't need the fast bike. I need the humbleness of walking to work, because that exercise in the morning, that pushing myself, that extra heartbeat, that's thought time. That's true gold. That's the power. So I don't think she's jealous of everybody. I wouldn't want to be jealous of me.
She's still the teacher.
She's still with him. Yeah, they actually got married. They got married last year, June. I think, you know, and he's got his own issues. He's his own guy. He wouldn't even, you know, he wouldn't even come in the same, he wouldn't even park in the same street, you know, as I say. He would park on the opposite side of the street. The kids would have to come running over, and it's only recently in the last few months started parking outside the house, you know. So I think they feel like maybe that they did something wrong having her taken from me, as it were. And at the time, that's how I felt. But that's because I only felt like that because I thought everyone's doing things to me. I didn't think, well, she's doing something for the best of her, for her mental health, for her happiness. I didn't think about that at the time. But once you get past that and go, you got to do things to make you happy, and if that separates your relationship, so be it. As long as you're still friends afterwards.
Thanks, man. Do you want to close it?
Yeah. So that was really good interview. Very inspiring, powerful.
Awesome.
I like that. But do you have any questions yourself or anything to like finish off the interview?
I think you guys are doing an awesome job. I don't really have any questions. Mental health.
I hope you go for part 2.
I hope so, guys. Like, mental health is such a huge thing, and having, like, I've gone through so many things that people think, like, how do you carry on after you've hit that brick wall? And I know that there's a way over it, there's a way around it, there's a way under it, and there's a way through it. I know that, and I know that every single time, every step. So I hope there's a part 2, but I also hope that some people get something from this.
Thank you very
Cool,
much.
guys. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
No worries, man.
Thank you so much for the time.